Hello and welcome to Bottom Line. I'm Cindy Kainz. We have a very important show for you today. We're going to be talking about homelessness and what happens when someone does get back into a home. What are some things they might need? I'm really excited to have my guest for today's show. She's the founder and executive director of Picking Up the Pieces, Shana White. Shana, welcome to the show.
Hi, Cindy. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about your personal experience and learning about this topic, and also maybe how people who are watching can help. Because I think it's really important when we talk about homelessness, and then when someone does get into a home, things that they might need. And I think maybe if we start off with your own personal story first, might help kind of level set, I think, our topic for today, and maybe help us walk through how things happen for you, and then how we can help others, succeed in getting a home and getting things inside the home that they just need for basic necessities. So Shane, if you don't mind sharing your personal story with us first, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. So I come from a single parent household, and I transitioned to homelessness, or went through the homeless process with my son at the age of 5, and just fell on hard times. I was sick, and I just wanted more, but I knew that I it was impossible at the time. So we went into a homeless shelter, and we had some wonderful, wonderful people there. Um, and we were just blessed to go through that transition. But unfortunately, when we got into our home shortly after, I fell into depression because I kept going into an empty home. I felt like there was still I still didn't make it. So even having 4 walls and a roof, it still didn't give me permission in my mind to succeed. So that's when I just buckled down and tried to get whatever it was that I could to try to sustain. It was extremely hard because even though the resources here, um, especially grants say housing, it doesn't say stability of any sort. And that's where the revolving door comes into play, because my son and I could have ended up back in a homeless shelter had I not just tried to find resources and things like that, but it was none.
And that's kind of where it seems like now for you, you started this, company, nonprofit, Picking
Yeah,
Up the Pieces, which I think is an amazing name. It's perfect for that because of what you're describing. And
absolutely.
and I think what's really important is many people and myself or others will look at that and say, wow, they got a home. Yes, they got a home. That's great. And I think what you're, really identifying, and I think what's wonderful is your own personal experience. It's not wonderful what you went through, but it's wonderful how you're now helping others to say, you know what, I didn't feel like I made it when I got my home and it was
Mhm.
empty and there was nothing in it. I was so surprised when I saw on your website that 95% of people, the family who are in a home, get in a home, are still sleeping on the floor 6 months later. And that
2
was
years later,
very eye-opening.
absolutely. 2 years later, I've gone into homes where they're 2 years. We try to, and it's saddening that our legislative system doesn't realize that it's not enough. And homelessness doesn't just stop at 4 walls or housing per se. It just doesn't stop there. It has to, and the thing about that is too, is that nobody, even the homeless shelters, caseworkers, things like that, don't put on their records how many people go back into homelessness or into that homeless shelter because they can't sustain.
Right. And you also have, and you can help maybe define for us, you call it homeless um, reentry. What do you mean by that when you talk about homeless reentry?
So homeless reentry, we try to, um, we meet them where they are, and after they get their home, we meet them at their doorstep and say, hey, we want to help you. We have the essential resources to help you. We don't want them to feel like they're alone. We we want the children to strive as well. So children don't ask to be in this situation, whether it's a death in the family, income related, or however, domestic violence, whatever. Those children don't ask to do that. But in school, they ask those children to strive, to do good on their national testing and state testing, things like that. So homeless reentry is a huge entity in our organization because it's a lot of people don't see that entity. They just see housing,
Right.
but it's another side to it.
And what's also, again, it's, like you said, we always think, okay, basic need shelter, four walls, but if you have nothing in those four walls, and especially for children to try to strive when they have that kind of environment, when they go home to try to be successful at school, that's really difficult. Like you said, the children aren't asking for the situation. And unfortunately, sometimes it happens. In your particular case, how did you find that you broke down the barriers as you talk about it? How did you see yourself rebuilding your lives? Because you mentioned, when you were in there, you started with some depression and you're thinking, hey, I've got these four walls, but I have nothing in it. And how did you start rebuilding your lives?
There was another organization that helped me get some things in a home. It wasn't a fully designed home because their resources were limited. Their volunteer staff was limited, but there was some resources. I went to the furniture bank. I went to some other resources that might have helped get a bed because mattresses are so expensive. And all I wanted to do was make sure that my son had somewhere to sleep so that he could strive in school. And just taking one, I always tell my other girlfriends, 1 second at a time. We don't have minutes and we don't have days. All I can do is 1 second at a time, and whatever I can do in that second, then that's fine. And just give myself some grace. This was a very hard time for me, and I'm sure for other families, but I was alone. I don't have any sisters, no brothers. My mom, um she she was in another home, but no aunts, no uncles. It was just me. So just seeking after stability. That was my focus, was stability for me and my son.
Yeah.
And that's what led the second to minutes and minutes to days. Was I had to do this for my son.
And that's, like you said, it's just an incredible story to me to see, because your heart and your passion and your love for your son, and you had to do it on your own. And many people have other people, but when you don't have anyone and it's on your own and you're trying to help your son survive and yourself, putting his needs first, I think what's really great about picking up the pieces is one of the things you talk about when you talk about people need things in their home. I know that one thing, if people are watching, as I would, or anyone, is how can we help? And I know that one thing you do, which I think is really important, is you have kind of, for donations, you have a Target wish list. You have an Amazon wish list. Could you kind of talk a little bit about what those are about? So if someone's watching, maybe they could know what they can do then to help with that wish list.
Absolutely. So all of our information is on our website. It is pickingupdetroit.org. And you can find our wish list there for Amazon. You can find our giving gallery as well, which are readily available. You just click on that QR code, and those are essential items that we need, that we try to get in every home that we do. Paper towel, an ironing board, washcloths, things like that. Those are essential items. Toothbrush holders, you could shower curtains. You could only imagine that people have these homes and don't even have shower curtains or shower liners, things like that. So we encourage our donors and volunteers and things like that to go on our website, pickingupdetroit.org, and look at our Amazon wish list. Our address is on there. It can be shipped right to our storage facility. It can be shipped to your home. And we are tangible. So you get to see our work on our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And you get to find, and we interact with our donors, and you find what you've brought or you find what you've donated in those homes, because we take so many pictures, because we want to let our donors know that this is really where your money is going. This is really where your items are going, and it's being put to use. You see the smiles, you see the children, the families. It is a wonderful experience to be a part of.
And that is amazing. And as I think about that, if someone's watching and they can do the Target or the Amazon, but what if they say, you know what, I've got a ton of paper towels at home. I have a ton of toilet paper, because we all know we probably, collected it during whenever happens.
Absolutely.
And even after, when we think there's a, storm coming or anything, and sometimes we overbuy because we're lucky to be able to do that. Are they able to, even physically, if they have it at their home, be able to drop it off as well or donate it that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you can reach me at my email. It would be info@pickingupdetroit.org. You can drop it off at our address, 29155 Northwestern Highway, Suite 550, Southfield, Michigan, 48034. If you email me donations, email me. I'll be more than someone from my team or I can usually pick those things up, because those, again, are essential items that people don't even think of, like paper towel holders.
Yeah. Exactly. I think about when you're talking about needs, it's like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, what do I need? You need a toothbrush, you need toothpaste, you need toilet paper, and you want to maybe take a shower without a shower curtain or a shower rod. Some of these things we just take for granted, and we think, okay, or you think, oh, someone moves into a house, it's got to have a shower rod and a shower curtain, but that isn't the case. So sometimes I think that's how we just have to walk through it. You also mentioned, I was going to go through a few other things you had on your website, because I think it's important for sometimes people to know about other things too and how they can help. Now, one is with Kroger, your program. And is that where, when we shop at Kroger, those Kroger points can go to picking up the pieces?
Yes, thank you so much for mentioning that. Kroger Rewards. Everybody goes to Kroger in some form or fashion, and we ask that. We've partnered with Kroger, and they'll do the community rewards. So if you go onto your app, for the Kroger app, where you download those coupons, if you go into the settings, you can, in the community rewards, picking up the pieces is listed. We ask that our volunteers and donors and guests put our name or our organization on your community rewards, because every time you shop, we get a percentage, and Kroger sends us a check to help go towards our essential items for these homes. So that's a tangible item as well that you can don't even have to think of, actually. So
Right. And that's an easy thing to do, because like you say, we're all shop at Kroger most likely at some point, and it automatically can help you. And like you said, you're not even thinking about it over and over, maybe even on a weekly or monthly basis. It's one way to help get the funding that you might need. The other thing I find interesting that someone can sponsor is a blessing box. Can you let us know what that means?
I love the blessing box, because again, that's a easy do. We drop off this box, a picking up the pieces box, and we put ribbons, and it's usually white, and we drop it off to that corporation or that business, and we ask that you and your company fill that box to the rim with essential items, towels, small electronic items, bedding, pillows, things of that nature, and we come and get that box from you. It's an easy fix. We can drop it off. We pick it up. We take pictures. We put your information on our website, and we give those things to our families. And we make sure that each family gets one of those items that you've put into that box. Absolutely.
And I know we mentioned a little bit earlier too, whether it's, through Target, Amazon, Kroger, or if people have things at home to drop off. And I know at your website and at your location on the website has your address. So if people wanted to also send a donation, a financial donation, they could do that as well too.
Absolutely. All of that information is on our pickingupdetroit.org website. We go through Give Butter. You can PayPal as well.
Okay.
Yes.
And since we're talking about donation and what people can do to help with all that, what if they say, you know what, I would really like to help out this organization and volunteer? What kind of opportunities do you need for people to volunteer? For what kind of roles that they might be able to help you with?
Come on, just come on. So we have our Hope Day, which is how we participate in our families' home when we design their homes. That means warehouse to home. We're packing up those items. We all go in, we take rooms, and we design their homes, which is the most fun part, right? And we get to see the family's expression. We get to greet them, welcome home. Our other tangible thing is our warehouse. We only have a storage facility right now. We're trying to upgrade to a warehouse, but again, we definitely need funds and donations as well. But we get so many donations that we have to sometimes clean. We need to reorganize. So we do have warehouse days as well that our volunteers can come in and help us reorganize, so that it's easier for us to go in and pull those items that our families need and go. Because our team tries to turn over a home in 2 weeks after our intake. So they're not anticipating, oh my God, are they going to call? Are they really going to help us? Yes, we are. And so we try to turn over a home in 2 weeks. So it's good that we have those volunteers in our warehouse or our storage facility to help us organize so that we can get on the move.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's just come on in, come on down and help out, because,
Absolutely.
An extra set of hands and eyes and ears and legs and feet, anybody can help. There's so many things to just do. And it sounds like it could donate as little or as much as time as they can do it, because it sounds like, just having people to help with a lot of those things, I'm sure will be beneficial as well. And I'm curious if, of all in the wish list and all that, if people are watching, is there still some things that fall short that you'd really like and that you're just haven't been able to obtain as much as you'd like to see? If somebody's watching, that maybe they could, help with some of that.
Right now, we are really in need of dressers. Unfortunately, our families that stay in those homes, they still live out of their bags, like the garbage bags and the laundry bags that they go from shelter to home in, and they live out of these bags. They wash their clothes if they have that privilege of washing clothes, but they put them back in the bags. So dressers, the 4-drawer dressers, are a huge thing that we need to obtain for our families that we readily have, that we don't have available, and they're very costly, unfortunately. Sometimes they cost more than a mattress for them to sleep on in the furniture stores and things like that. So if we can have donations of like just the tall 4-drawer dressers would be wonderful.
That's great to know, because again, it's something, those of us who have a house with, furniture and thing in it, you forget about that kind of thing. You forget about how important a dresser is for someone who doesn't, and basically living out of a bag, unfortunately, Now you also have a fundraiser, I think, that you do for pancake breakfast as well. If you want to speak about that, and if you have other fundraisers that you might have throughout the year.
Absolutely. So we already did our pancake breakfast, which was exceptional. The community really showed up for us, but there is still an opportunity to give. On our website, we have our giving gallery, which are still essential items like a desk. People don't realize that children need desks. These
Mhm.
moms and families need a desk to work at. So those toilet roll brushes, a broom, a mop, those things are still are traveling along from our pancake breakfast. It's called our giving gallery. And we do have a um, operation of hope. That's what our outreach of hope. I'm sorry, outreach of hope. And that is April the, ooh, April, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No.
April the 12th, and that's a Saturday, and we are asking for peanut butter, jelly, perishable items, bottled water, so that we can because sometimes the homeless don't make it to their homes. So picking up the pieces want to meet them again where they are, and so we have our operation of outreach of hope are going down to a local park, and we're going to serve peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with bags, care packages. So if you can donate, and that's also on our Amazon wish list as well. But we're peanut butter jelly, applesauce, spoons, napkins, things like that. So we can create some bags so that we can meet them exactly where they are until they get their home.
Right. And that's what's really amazing. So that helping people even before they get to the home, and then being able to help them once they get to the home. You
Absolutely.
mentioned something, why they wait for their home. And you mentioned, homeless shelter and so on. Something that I've always wanted to know and make sure is, and I think other people have, is that if you see somebody out and they're homeless, what are the things you should do or shouldn't do to try to help them out? Many times people maybe try to give financial money to them,
Yeah,
small bills or some bills. Some people maybe are leaving a restaurant, they're going home, and they have some leftovers. Is there things that we should do or not do to help?
absolutely. So in my journey um, to life, to regain stability, and in gaining employment, I often saw a homeless person on the freeway, and I decided to, when I made my lunch, I made him a lunch too. And every day that I went to work, he was there, and didn't take much because I made me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I made him one too. And I would ride past, I would give him his lunch for the day, and I would go on about my business. Something just simple. Um, what we don't do, we don't take pictures. It is not, we don't want to dehumanize them. And don't take pictures, don't take videos. What you are going to do, you're sowing good seeds, and that's what matters. You'll get that back, but you don't have to publicize it. Um, those are just things that I have done in my journey to give back, just simply without even thinking of it. I make me a lunch, I make him a lunch.
That is so simple, but
Yeah.
yet we totally would, not enter our mind. And I think it's amazing because, like you said, it's not hard. You're making yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or what if somebody's making a little turkey sandwich, whatever they're making to take. Because I used to take lunch every day to work all the time too, and those are just very simple things to do. And like you say, I feel like if you're going to help someone, there's no need to take a picture, no need to take a video. There's no need to me. Being anonymous is fine too. You're just trying to help someone who just needs it. And I think that's what's, can be most important about that is because it's got to be hard. It's hard for even me to ask for help in that. And I'm not even in that situation. So I know that it's very difficult for somebody. I know how hard it must have been for you, to try to do that. But, you had your son in focus, because it's hard, because everybody has pride,
Yeah.
and everybody wants that chance. And is there anything else if we see someone who, like you said, on the side of the freeway, giving them a lunch, maybe financial something to help them that day if they need to go, get something to eat. Is there anything else that you can think of that we could help that maybe we're overlooking too easily?
Just I have to put myself in this situation just because I've done the work. I've put the boots on the ground, and just whatever you have. So like if there's a woman, maybe some feminine products, you can put it in a little bag and make sure that she has those necessities, or a bag that, because she still has to be a woman, right?
Right.
So a deodorant of some sort, just a small little care package from the dollar store. Because I I don't find these people, but these people are usually, on my way somewhere, and I often have to, and it's probably the same person. So usually, I mean, if it's a woman bag. If it's a man, just a man bag. Just it being intentional
Right.
without. Most times, I mean, if I do have some change, but sometimes they don't have a way to get there. They only are sleeping up under a bridge of some sort. Um, and most people, they don't even want them in the store because of how they look. So sometimes you have to bring those things to that person.
Mm.
So that's why I'm saying tangible items. Give them a lunch, or make them a lunch, or give them a care package bag. And that's simply in a Ziploc bag, a gallon size Ziploc bag. Some
Right.
things that you went on vacation and now you don't need those things, those travel size things. Put all those things in that Ziploc bag and give that to that person.
Right.
That helps them, because again, sometimes they don't even want to go in the store.
Very true.
Sometimes they're not even allowed in the store. Okay. Because they might have stolen them, right? Because that's the only way that let's be honest. And so once you give it to them, that cuts back the crime because they have it. That cuts back the 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 dehumanizing, how they feel, because somebody intentionally cared.
Right. And that what you just said was really, I think, impactful in the sense that, like you said, just a little Ziploc for feminine products for a woman, or just feminine type things for a woman, or and things for a
Absolutely.
man.
Every time I
But
go, like,
yeah,
travel, I take all those things out that I've, like,
yeah,
if so, most of the time you buy 2 3 toothpastes because you want to buy the small ones. All those things I put in a Ziploc bag. I never reuse the things that I have in my travel or anything like that. I put them all in a Ziploc bag, whatever it is, and I give it.
yes,
And I make that. That's just something simple. Don't reuse your own because you can buy it, right? Just
exactly.
put those things in a Ziploc bag and give it away.
And the thing that you mentioned there too is a lot of times they can't get to the store.
Yes.
Maybe something isn't close by. Maybe they don't have a bike, or they're just walking. I think, as you mentioned, just being what's happening out in the world, maybe they're not welcomed there, or in
Absolutely.
there, or feel comfortable going in there. So I think that's really great, bringing things to them. And a lot of times, like you said, there's a lot of times you see the same person maybe in a certain location. So it would be something where you could prepare for that, and maybe one day be able to go and drop it off, and just give them some necessities. Like you said, even the travel stuff, the soaps, the shampoos, just things like that. Shana, I really appreciate you sharing your personal experience. It's amazing, the organization that you created, and everything you offer. Help you're giving it very easy for us, the public, to help you. Target wish list, Amazon, drop it off. Sponsor a blessing box at your office or work. So again, thank you so much for being on Bottom Line. Thank you, and for what you've done for your son. Thank you for what you're doing for others, because your passion and your success, and knowing how you were able to do it second by second, really makes a difference.
I appreciate you. Thank you for your warm welcome. I appreciate your time. Thank you so, so very much.
You are very welcome. And I thank our audience for watching. I think Shana has given us a lot of great opportunities, pickingupdetroit.org, picking up the pieces. Shana White, who's our CEO and the founder, executive director, please keep them in mind. Thanks for watching. I'm Cindy Kainz.